There was a moment early in the relationship. Could have been a conversation. Could have been how they reacted when something didn't go their way. Could have been a comment they made that sat wrong, and you shook it off. That was the warning, not the breakup, not the argument that finally broke everything open. That moment, the quiet one, the one you almost didn't notice. God revealed character then, and most men, including me, have walked past that moment more than once. This video is about why. Stay with me, because what I'm about to say is going to sound uncomfortable. And if it does, that means it's for you. Here's the honest truth about attraction. It is real. It is powerful. It is specifically designed to make character harder to see. Not because God is cruel, but because attraction is the entry point, not the foundation. Attraction gets you through the door. Character determines whether the house stands. And the problem is most men build everything on the feeling of entry and never test the foundation. Ignoring the warning signs usually lead to emotional burnout and self-doubt, not because the man was foolish, but because he was never taught how to separate what he felt from what he saw. Those are two different sources of information, and only one is reliable long term. Here's the part most men never get taught: how attraction works against discernment. When you are attracted to someone, your brain literally filters information differently. It amplifies what confirms the feeling and minimizes what challenges it. That's not weakness, that's biology. But a man of faith is called to something higher than his biology. He's called to discernment. And discernment is not the same as being suspicious or closed off. Discernment is just a discipline of letting what you observe carry equal weight to what you feel. Inconsistencies between words and action signals deeper issues. And that inconsistency shows up early. It is never hidden perfectly. Character leaks under pressure in small moments, in how someone treats people who can do nothing for them. Watch for the leak. This is where it gets specific, because God doesn't hide character. We choose not to see it. In Luke chapter 16, verse 10, Jesus says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much." That is one of the most practical relationship verses in the entire Bible, and most men walk past it. Jesus isn't talking about money here. He is talking about character at scale. How someone handles the small things is how they will handle the large things. How they speak about their ex when the relationship is new is how they will speak about you when the relationship gets hard. How they respond to correction in small moments is how they will respond to conflicts in big ones. The small moments are the interview. Most men skip the interview because the candidate is attractive. And then they wonder why the hire didn't work out. And here's the line that changed everything for me. The one I wish someone had said to me 10 years ago. I want to say something clearly. You didn't ignore the warnings because you were stupid. You ignored the warnings because nobody ever taught you what to do when you feel one thing and see another. Nobody sat you down and said, when your feelings and your observations conflict, lead with what you observe. Your feelings are passengers, important ones, real ones, but passengers. You are the driver, and a driver who takes his eyes off the road because the music is good is still responsible for the crash. This is where the shift happens from the man who reacts to what he feels to a man who leads with what he knows. I want to dismantle something before I close. The lie that discernment makes you closed off, closed, hard to love. That if you require character, you're asking for too much. That's not true. A discerning man is not a cold man. He is a protected man. And his discernment protects both people and the relationship. Because when you choose character over chemistry, you build something that survives the seasons when the chemistry fades. And chemistry always fades. It's supposed to. That's when the foundation gets tested. Not the initial pull, not the surface presentation, not what they are when everything is good. What are they when everything is hard? That is the whole question. Let me say this plainly because most men never hear it. If you've made this mistake, if you've chosen feeling over seeing and have paid the price for it, you are not damaged. You are not behind. You are not disqualified from a relationship built on real ground. You are equipped because the man who has felt the cost of ignoring character is the man most motivated to never ignore it again. The lesson is expensive. Make it count. God didn't waste what you walked through. He built something in you through it. Now use it. Lead with your eyes open. Choose character. Choose clarity. Choose the relationship that can survive the winter, not just the one that feels warm in the summer. And this is the part that most teachings skip entirely. Attraction is not the enemy. God designed it. It's good. The problem isn't feeling drawn to someone. The problem is letting that draw become the only compass you consult. You were given more than feelings. You were given a mind. You were given the spirit. You were given patterns to observe. You were given a community to ask. A man who leads with discernment doesn't reject attraction. He simply refuses to let it drive alone. He gathers multiple sources of information. What does he observe? What does trusted communities see? What does the spirit whisper when he's quiet? What does their history reveal? And then, and only then, does he make a decision. That is not coldness. That is wisdom. That is stewardship of his own future. This is how you stop repeating the same pattern with different faces. Stay here because I'm going to give you the framework that changes everything. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself before you commit your heart to anyone. 1. How do they treat people who can do nothing for them? Not you, not people they want something from. The server, the stranger, the person they'll never see again. That is the truest test of character. 2. What happens when you say no? Not confrontationally, just a small boundary, a preference, a different option. Do they adjust or do they pressure? Character shows itself in how someone handles not getting what they want. 3. What do trusted people in your life see that you don't? If one person raises a flag, you can weigh it. If multiple people who love you and want to see the best for you see the same thing, you need to listen. Not because they're always right, but because attraction blinds. And people who love you aren't blinded by your attraction. Love is not blind. Attraction is. Here's what happens when you actually apply this. Let me make the cost explicit. When you choose attraction over character, you just don't lose time. You lose clarity. You start doubting your own judgment. You wonder if you can trust what you see. The cost is higher than any breakup. You lose confidence in your ability to make good decisions. It's the erosion of your own inner compass. And rebuilding that trust in yourself, in your ability to hear God, in your own judgment, takes longer than healing from the relationship itself. That's the real cost. Not the months you gave, the years it takes to trust your own seeing again. Don't pay that price twice. And one more truth before we close, and this one matters most. God reveals character to protect you, not to punish you, not to make you suspicious, not to make relationships harder. He reveals it because He loves you, because He knows what you don't know yet, what that person will cost you if you ignore what you're seeing. The warning is mercy, not inconvenience. And when you learn to receive that warning as mercy, everything changes. You stop resenting what you saw. You start thanking God for showing you early. You stop calling it bad luck. You start calling it protection. You stop wondering why relationships are failing. You start recognizing that God was faithful every single time. You just weren't listening. If this hit something real, comment, I saw it below. One word. Because if you've ever known and stayed anyway, this message was specifically for you. Subscribe every week. Content for men who are done making decisions from the wrong part of themselves and are ready to lead with clarity, character, and faith. And before you go, I want to leave you with a question, not one you answer in the comments, one you sit with. What did you see that you chose to unsee? Sit with that, because the answer to that question is the key to everything that comes next. Please hit the like button. It tells YouTube send this out to others who might get some value from this content. Hit subscribe, and if you do hit subscribe, hit the bell icon. That way you get notification anytime I drop a new video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.